Gil Scott-Heron is playing Coachella this year. Gil Scott-Heron, who started all the stuff that, in essence, I don't want to say you're borrowing from, but, the stuff that, is out there.
That inspired me and what I'd like to do with my music in a way. Right. Yes, absolutely. An innovator, pioneer, if you will.
And the fact that he's playing Coachella this year leads me to believe that that maybe this is where the schooling needs to start for some of these young kids. Not saying you, because obviously, you're doing what you're doing.
We're never too old to learn, I guess.
But I suppose the kids who are in Eminem, I think, might need to go a little bit further back than just the Beastie Boys.
Oh, well, absolutely. And that's funny you mentioned the Beastie Boys, because I got together with Mr. Money Mark. He helped me out with this latest record, Keyboard City, that just came out. And he was more kind of like the mad scientist, if you will, and him allowing me to be in his studio, I felt like a kid in a candy store, me being a piano player and a keyboard player.
So where did you meet Money Mark?
We met through a mutual friend through our management, and also he's done work. He's collaborated with my father in the past, and we just have so many mutual friends within the Los Angeles area and the LA scene, the music scene. Yeah, I feel like it was predestined. Him and I were eventually meant to collaborate together, and whether it should have happened sooner, it happened now, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. And we did great work together. Him also being a piano player himself, he doesn't really like to be known for this, but I think it's okay. I can let everybody know that he's really the fourth Beastie Boy. Being a student and being a kid in school, I would listen to the Beastie Boys. I would listen to Hieroglyphics and Dell. I would listen to Atmosphere. I would listen to Oza Motley, and then getting the opportunity to collaborate and write songs with these guys. That's again, not just a kid in a candy store, but almost like a fan to another artist. It's just an honor.
So tell me about, Money Mark, who else is on the record that you've been working with?
Well, Money Mark and myself were the main guys on the record. However, we got a phone call one afternoon in the studio because we were trying to fish for some other melodies and some other instrumentation on this particular song. And when he says, hey, why don't I give this gentleman Joel a call? I was like, Joel? Okay, Joel, cool. And unfortunately, later in the day, I had something to do, so I dipped out of the session. I came back later and found that Money Mark had Joel lay down all these didgeridoo parts all over the song and all of this slide guitar, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. Who's this guy, Joel? And Money Mark's like, oh, it's Joel Harper, Ben Harper's brother. I was like, wow, that's cool. You just said Joel. You didn't say Joel Harper, and I guess he was in town that day, and he just came through and blessed us with his abilities. And the other thing I really loved about Keyboard City is that I was able to not just show off my keyboard and abilities and all that, but I really got to tap into me learning how to write, bass lines and incorporate a little bit of what I know on the drums, since drums are technically my first instrument.
Yeah, you started on drums originally.
Right.
Why did you, I don't want to say you gave them up, because you still play them, but why did you?
I didn't give up the drums necessarily. I just put them on hold because at a certain point I realized that the piano, even though it's displayed and perceived as a very delicate instrument, classical music, you play very softly and legato and whatnot, but actually it's a very percussive instrument and demands a lot of, of course, splitting the difference and finding a middle ground. It demands sometimes you really going for it, using your elbows, and obviously you have to use your fingers all the time, and kind of like what Jimi Hendrix did with the guitar, how he would play it with his teeth and playing behind his back. Sometimes it takes somebody to just try and invent something new, innovation. So at some point I made the connection, or some people helped me make the connection, that the piano is a very percussive instrument. And then I was able to tap into the jazz world. Thelonious Monk, McCoy Tyner, Keith Jarrett, Herbie Hancock, and then the Latin, the Afro-Cuban world, Eddie Palmieri, Tito Puente, Buena Vista Social Club.
I got to start off with the fact that, TJ is right across the border.
Yeah.
And obviously very close to your family roots, because in essence that's where your dad did all of his stuff down there.
That's right.
Because if it wasn't for what your family has done, and it's not obviously just your dad, obviously there's a lineage that goes way back.
Sure.
But taking border music, if you will, and throwing in all these different influence on it forced everybody else to go, well, I guess that's okay, because you can do it. Because
That's right.
It only is X amount of notes on the keyboard.
Sure.
And there's only how many BPMs you can throw at somebody before they either can't dance to it or they can't sleep to it.
That's about right. And I think what my dad and I do that is similar is that, again, like you mentioned, we like to take all kinds of music, put it together, because we all see the cohesiveness, we all see the similarities, and we just want to make that our own and call it our own genre. People like to call my dad's music, Latin rock or, world music or whatever, but for me, I like to title my music as like a new blend. It's a mixture of what you've heard before and maybe some stuff you have never heard.
Right.
And that's, I'm not saying that like I amaze myself or anything, but sometimes I even surprise myself because I hadn't realized how much music I had been exposed to because of my father, because of my family, because of me going to an arts high school, because of me going to an arts college
Right.
in Los Angeles. When I write the music, I get to see it. I'm not looking at it from the inside out. I'm finally looking at it like everybody else, the outside in.